okay, the thinking there is probably with such a greater good happening, they probably don't assume that somebody is coming forward to claim money from them airing their doc. Right. Like, there's a goal, there's an objective. Who's that creep?
Right.
The answer is, whoever it is, it's not me. It's not me. So I thought nothing more of it until I began to read things. And as I began to read things, I saw a lot of horrible shit. Being said. And it made me hearken. Ooh, that's how you know I'm about to say some serious shit. Hit him with a heart.
It sounds like a rich white guy's middle name.
It made me, I'm telling you, I'm dying to be fucked. It made me go back to our conversation last week where some of the fans were killing people for not coming forward and not being a part of this doc.
Yeah.
And we were saying, I think it's a million reasons that people would not want to be involved. But now I was witnessing it in real time. Boy, was I getting killed.
Yeah.
I was getting dragged through the mud for speaking up on such a positive doc, such a positive, informative doc, right? So I said to myself, well, shit, that doesn't feel good. They had lists going around. It was like 30 names, cancel them all. I was there. I didn't feel good about it. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm in a moment of transparency. I was hurt. I was hurt by it. It didn't sit right with my soul. And I thought that maybe it would pass. And I went to sleep and I woke up and it still didn't sit right with my soul. And that was the moment that I was faced with the decision that many men are faced with. Well, how much do I want to talk? For some months now, I've been alluding to this society that makes it not so welcoming for men to share, right? For many reasons. Men don't share because everything you say technically is a deposition and can be used in court. Mm-hmm. That's one. Men don't speak in fear of what may happen to them professionally. 2. And 3, fear. Period. Fear because we have indeed treated women improperly at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
Very true.
I think that's the blanket statement that a lot of men just aren't ready to come forth with. And that's why it's such scary times.
Yeah.
But these conversations have to be had because you have to contextualize some of these things. Like, this is the first week I actually looked up the word abuse. It said improper usage. Period. Guilty. Yeah. I have utilized women improperly at some point in life. Yeah. I have utilized people improperly.
Yeah.
See, and that's why contextualizing is important. Some of this stuff is not gender specific.
At all.
Some of this stuff is humanity. True. Some of this stuff is people treating people improperly. But forget about all that for a second. So I saw my name on all of these lists, and then people started to hit my mentions. Let's talk about it. We have a much larger audience today. A lot more people are looking at and paying attention to Joe Budden today than they were before. So people naturally started to hit my mentions and say, yo, Joe, I'm seeing some shit. Care to share? I was unaware. I saw that. I saw a lot of, and this is wildfire. One person says something, 20 people say, wait, what happened? And now that person's word is certified.
Right.
And now if you don't jump in and you don't say something, that word just continues to be certified.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing here. Silence, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about it a lot today. Silence, in the court of public opinion, is an admission of guilt. For most people, if you did not do something, you just come forward and you say, hey, I didn't do that. In this, it's a bit more layered, and I would like to use myself as an example because I owe it to people. That's why I'm doing it. I owe it to certain people, and I've never done anything to help myself. I'm having this conversation because morally, it's the correct thing to do, and there's no more inappropriate time than right this second.
Yeah.
So for the people that were talking to me, confused, looking for clarity, let me try my best as a mature, responsible adult to help myself. Years ago, I was in a relationship with a woman that I was not compatible with. And we had a bad breakup. I take that back. We didn't have a bad breakup. We handled our breakup badly. There's a difference. I've never spoken about this in depth, not in fear of ramification, but out of respect. Mm-hmm. Out of respect for the young lady, out of respect for her child or children, her family, my family. And that's just a natural thing to do. When you put something behind you, you just try to put it behind you. But let's get into it. I was in a relationship with a woman that I was not compatible with, nor was I behaving like a man that was in a committed relationship. I was not behaving like I was telling someone one thing and I was doing another thing. That's what was happening. Years later, let's talk about it. I was not considerate to my partner's feelings. I was not behaving in a manner that was indicative of someone that was in a monogamous relationship. I was exited. I was disconnected, right? And I'm keeping this on me because I want to always be mindful to respect other people, their anonymity, and people that just want to move forward and put certain things behind them. That bad breakup culminated in domestic abuse allegations and me being ordered away from my home for weeks at a time, 8 weeks to be exact, 6 to 8 weeks. That was 2 months. At the end of the trial period, I could return. That was to give the authorities the time for their due diligence and to do proper research to these allegations. That's a conversation to be had, and I'm the perfect person to have it because I've gone through this in New Jersey and New York, and my experience was very different both times. I'm here to share it with you guys. In New Jersey, they took a lot of time to get to the bottom of what happened. I was ordered away from the young lady for her safety and protection because states don't play. The states are not playing with women's safety, is what I'm saying. So I was ordered away. They spoke to her in private. They allowed her the proper time to remove her belongings and get her situation together. And we were to return to court. And when we returned to court, the young lady stood up after some of those feelings in that angry moment had passed. After we were trying to hurt each other, because that's what we were doing after the breakup. We did a bunch of interviews where the sole objective was to hurt the other person. Certainly somebody out there can understand this stuff. This stuff is never said. Newsflash, she won that. She killed those interviews. I was horrible. I was young. I was immature. I was on pills. Dark times for me. I was rebellious. I had this I don't give a fuck attitude that I've managed to shed. Somehow I've learned, no, certain things you got to care about. I didn't really get the ramifications of even the accusation back then. So I did nothing to help myself. And unfortunately, when the judge throws this stuff out, it's not really publicized the way it's publicized when the allegations are birthed. True or false. Fast forward. Fast forward in typical Joe Budden fashion, I make the same mistake more than once. I later get involved with a young lady who I didn't know very much about, and she didn't know very much about me. It was short-lived. It didn't last very long. And when it ended, she felt she had a lot of emotion. And she went about that emotion at that time the best that she sought how, which resulted in me, again, putting on a clinic in how not to use the internet. Again, as I proclaimed my innocence, I cursed out the police. I cursed out the system. I cursed out her. I cursed everybody out. Zero accountability at the time. I then faced an aggressive prosecutor and DA's office in New York who didn't seem so concerned with finding out the truth. They was trying to hang a nigga. They were going hard. I went to court for 2 years. I went through the same exact process that anybody else would go through. If a cop knocks on your door and says, hey, somebody said some things, please come with us. That's what occurred. I don't think that because I went through these things and was found innocent of all of these things, that should omit me from having a voice and having something to say about predators, pedophilia, and men who commit abuse on women. That's where this gets a little confusing for me. That's where most of my feelings came from as I read these lists. I came away from all of that saying, well, God damn, man, well, what system do we respect today? Again, I checked the boxes. I faced the judge threw it out. If we won't respect that system, the alleged victim came forward and spoke and exonerated me. If we won't respect that, clearly, if you have eyes and ears, I don't behave the way that I used to behave, so we're not respecting reform. So what part are we going to respect? And then that's where this movement gets cloudy a little bit, because I need to separate the people that are actually invested in this past the tweet, past just saying something and going on about your life, from the people that's just bandwagoning because it's trendy, from the people that are just hopping on trying to demoralize another human being. That's totally different. I'm invested in this a different way because my life was nearly altered behind false allegations. I try not to say that because, unfortunately, there's no way for a man to defend himself against that without sounding insensitive to actual victims of these things. And that's what this is about. So when I read my name bunched up with this stuff, I think about the young lady. I think about the disrespect, how insensitive it is to her people, me, my fiance, my family. Not to sound like Kevin Hart, at what point do we allow people to put any moment in time behind them? When you go through incidents like these, a restraining order is immediately placed as they try to figure out what happened. So again, because there were restraining orders in place, I wasn't running to the internet to say, hey, the young lady and I are great. We're fine. We're happy this is behind us. We were wrong. We apologized to each other. We had some different conversations at later times where we both figured that we just wilded out for a little bit. It was wrong, and we bugged.
Nor do you owe that to the public. I want to make that part clear, too.
Well, apparently.
That's where it's tricky.
Yeah.
That's where it's tricky because you're right.
My opinion.
You don't.
You do kind of.
You do.
Yeah, you kind of do. I agree with what
if you're a
saying.
public servant,
Right.
which last week I just said we're all public servants, then you maybe owe it a little bit. Because there was a restraining order in place, I never got to say that I later spoke to my second accuser. And she had she was so shocked that her life was altered by her moment and her decision making in that time. She didn't anticipate that. See, those are the conversations we're not having. Sometimes people say things in a moment of anger, and then they want nothing to do with that. Because it's not only someone else's life altered, it's theirs as well. And the lady back up off that. This is while the law is trying to get to the bottom of the law, is trying to lock niggas up. The law want fucking $100,000 in bail, but the law is on your ass. They not playing with y'all. I never got to say any of this stuff. I never helped myself in these instances. I don't think it's fair that my name is bunched up with people who have open cases, open investigations, people that have victims who feel like they were silenced by certain institutions. None of that's happening. Like, this cannot be an emotional movement. Sorry.
It's very dangerous.
I don't mean to be, I don't want to offend anybody.
No.
I am certainly respectful of what's going on.
No, but it's real.
Niggas that know me know women are God's greatest creation to me. But we cannot be emotional. We have to be responsible in this moment of time with the power that we have. If not, it's sheer hypocrisy, and we're guilty of the very same thing that we're accusing people of, which is abusing power and taking advantage of.
And more importantly, we have to be very honest with each other in these times and in situations like these. That honest communication, and acceptance. Acceptance is important. I don't think a lot of people we don't move past a lot of shit because people don't accept their part and their role. And what you just said was finally, accepting that yes, I did things in my relationship that I caused a lot of shit. A lot of reaction.
Well, therapy teaches you to keep it all on you. So while these accusations were flying, Maul, I never looked at, for me, and this hurt me at the time, but I never looked at, damn. I always looked at it like, damn, why is all this stuff happening? I didn't do that. How could people believe that? And it took therapy and intense therapy for me to look at it and say, who cares? Who cares? What part did I play in getting us both to this place where this occurred?
Right.
I think that's the part that some people miss.
Right.
But we can't be in this space where we don't allow people to feel and to make mistakes. Sorry, as horrible as all of this sounds, it is a part of my journey. It's a part of me realizing certain shit. And growing up a little bit. Like, life is going to give all of y'all different things to teach us all different things. It's what makes us us. And my shit was fucked up. Right. Hey, if somebody come to you and tell you some horrible shit that Joe did, some negative shit, what you should say is, well, when? I ain't, you know what I mean?
But and
I ain't holier than thou.
Yeah, I'm about to say deeper than that, Joe. None of us are without sin, right? So it's like we all do shit and we go through shit.
Level
and
out. Like once one rumor start, all the rumors start. Like, hey, he did this, he got her addicted to pills. He did this. Wait, everybody relax. Everybody relax. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am so grateful that these conversations are able to be had today. Because another part that was missing in all of that was, and that was probably toward the end of it, but I was a mental health case for at least 10 to 20 years at that time. Those conversations couldn't be had. You was a weirdo to say that. As a society, and that's why, you know, I try to highlight R. Kelly and his abuser. Because as a society, we're negligent to people that are abused. Like, abuse breeds abuse.
Right.
Hurt breeds hurt. Victims, like, it's a cycle of shit. And if I'm not allowed to feel uncomfortable at the mere sight of my name by some of these allegations and mentions, then what is the purpose of the cause? And I'm not asking to be funny. I'm asking like for enlightenment. Like, there are real predators amongst us. The second that we have factual evidence against some of these niggas, know who gonna be the first nigga to come on this platform and tell 2 million people per week? You fucking guessed it. Joe. Should Joe be banished? Like, tell me what protocol is here. I should be thrown to the fucking side because I was young and didn't know how to deal with shit? No, I don't think that's the motive. I don't think that's the goal. I don't think that's the objective. When that, I don't even like to highlight that hypocrisy because I feel like the people that are involved with this movement, they're not dumb. You know, I like the LA people say, hey, it's not the LA people fucking up LA, it's y'all. That's kind of how I feel about that. I'm off on a tangent here, so feel free to jump in.
No, but it was.
I think you covered
Yeah.
what you needed to cover.
You needed to get that off, and I think it's an appropriate time. But like I said, you know, it's time we reprogram our thinking. Like, it's cool for us to love our women. You know, it's cool for us to respect our women. It's cool for us to uplift our women. It's cool for us to support our women. And I think we got to get back into a mindset of really walking and living by that.
Well, I'm telling you, that's why my mind was down this rabbit hole, Maul, because as I was reading all these things, one of the things that stood out to me, and I never felt like this before, I never thought this was, I was only reading this from black women.
Right.
Like, it wasn't nobody else saying these horrible things about me, but black women.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to the underlining tension that does exist between black men and black women about how black women feel that they've been treated by black men.
Right.
Like, my mind's been, but this has been a heavy week, man.
But that's why I said, I would have never expected, you know, this conversation to come from this docuseries. Like, I think that, you know, it's healthy. Conversation is healthy. I think that it helps people grow. It helps people move on and you know, deal with shit in their lives and expose things and just bring shit to the forefront that may be holding them back and that may be affecting them in ways that they're not even aware of. Like, when you sit down and have conversation, I think we was talking about this in private before. Sometimes, like, a lot of issues are only issues because lack of just a conversation. A simple conversation would resolve all of that. And I think that, you know, moving forward, we just need to keep that in mind, because it's easy for us to, you know, talk about this now and in 2 weeks and in 3 weeks we don't even think about this shit no more because something else will have happened by then. But I think we have to do our best to keep this in mind moving forward, that we need to reprogram the way we think and the way we treat women and the way we, you know, just move about in our daily lives. Just we have to change a lot of things. A lot of things were handed down to us, generational.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times we can't expect the world to change and then our thinking be the same, or our thinking be the same that was handed down to us. We have to change the way that we think and that we you know, our relationships with our women in our lives. And not just women that you're in a romantic relationship. I'm just talking about women in general, period. We have to change the way we think and we act and we treat our women in our society. We have to.
I agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
that's the best thing. This whole docu-series and everything surrounding it and the Me Too movement is hopefully growth as a humanity.
Well, what I learned from watching that doc is not only the Me Too movement, there are so many different movements.
Yeah.
Like, some not as publicized as others, but there are a lot of places for people to go to and I mean, get right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you said, Joe, it has been unfortunate with this too to see the Me Too movement just trying to catch this trendy online shit. To your point of it's not the people in LA, it's the people that are coming in to fuck it up. It falls back to that social media attention thing. I think the Me Too movement is made up of women that have been abused. They've been through this for years. There's evidence. There's all these things that they've had to live through. This cancel culture takes a 30-second clip that they see online with no context and adds it into a pile of people that have gone through a lot of abuse over the past God knows how many years.
That's why I'm trying to have the conversation, because past canceling someone, what is the next step? See, some people are only going to say, hey, he did that, cancel them. There's so much more to be done.
But I almost feel like it's almost in this weird, sick, selfish way when people do some of that cancel culture shit, because it's not for the moral reasons of what they say it is. It's, hey, I'll probably get a lot of attention if I, quote, expose this person for a 2-second clip with no context at all, because that's what everyone else is talking about. It has nothing to do with the women that were actually in that documentary that are part of the Me Too movement.
We're all morally sound until we go home.
Fair.
Like, what else are we going to see here? What I will say is I am shocked at the amount of people that are still riding with Robert.
Yeah, me too.
They're still
it's
out there.
It's disturbing. Every day I have someone tweeting me, nah, you can separate the music from the man, and
I had tweets of people calling us pussies.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pussy.
no, siding, like y'all are just siding with women, y'all are pussy. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Really? That's
that
what you
makes me a
grasp
pussy,
out of
then I'm a
that?
pussy, yeah.
Well, that's another reason that these conversations is so great that they're being had, because men are really telling you how sick they are.
Yeah.
Like, ladies, you don't have to do much investigative work.
Right.
Like, men speaking about this lone topic, they tell you exactly where their respect level is for women and how they feel about women. I was watching somebody who I shall not name, who I have felt for a little while now has just had zero respect for women. And his whole stance is, yeah, I totally understand R. Yeah, I get it, man. These little chicks was fast.
Come on, man.
Like, the subtext in some of the things that men are saying is intolerable. It's difficult to read. It's difficult to bear. And again, it's been a really heavy week for me. I've watched this docuseries 9 times, each part,
Yeah.
showing a bunch of different people.
It's always interesting to see the men that speak on this situation that don't have daughters. I think that's interesting. I think I've seen a lot of guys, social media jump out there and say some things, and I'm like, damn, like that's how you feel about this? And then you start looking at them, you're like, oh, he don't have no kids, or he has a son, or 2 sons, or 3 sons.
I don't have any daughters, but I have a mom.
And that's my other thing. I don't
Like,
have any
why
kids.
people don't? Yeah, I got a sister.
Yeah,
Right.
but you know what it is? Because people don't. If it doesn't directly affect them, it's kind of like, that ain't my sister. That
I
ain't
saw
my
a lot
cousin.
of people saying that about Sparkle. They were saying, oh, you was cool with him doing this to anybody else, but once it was your niece, you had a lot of guilt that you harbored.
Right.
Yeah, it's a messy situation, man. It's messy. Savon just showed me a report that said Atlanta's thinking about filing charges or R. Kelly reportedly under investigation in Georgia for possible criminal charges. Listen, if I'm watching that doc, it's mad times to get that nigga while he was crossing state lines
Yeah.
with minors.
Yeah.
So this doesn't have to just be an Atlanta thing. He vacated the premises when it got hot over there. When the reports came out, he set up shop somewhere different. This is not solely an Atlanta thing. If we do some digging, I told you last week. I feel like they're gonna get him.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
They
even
gonna
the
get
2
him.
girls he flew out to LA, like that's already trafficking right there. The last recent 2.
outside of Jocelyn Savage, like the one that was on the actual doc, they say here prosecutors reportedly claim they already have one woman ready to testify. So they feel very strongly that they have a case already. This is without questioning any of the women that were in that documentary.
Wow. Good.
I feel like in the future, women and young men will come forward.
I hope so. I hope so. This is a positive thing, even though it's hard to digest and hard to watch and hard to stomach and hard to apply to your own life and realize that type of thing may be happening or have happened to people that you love.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that we need to do. It's important.
Okay, was that responsible? Was that a responsible 90 minutes?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was a healthy 90 minutes.
Okay, good. I would play outstanding, but I'm not. It's 2019.
Switching it up on us?
Yeah.
Both played at the barbecue.
And this is outstanding 1B.
What?
This is outstanding part B.
It's
Yeah.
true.
That's all it is. This is outstanding part B.
When I was thinking about making the switch, I was like, oh, shit. You can let that rock until he says. When